In a world infested with semi-mediocre podcasts, only one show can bring you an exceptionally mediocre podcast. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave.
Hey Dave, we got a call on the voicemail.
We actually got a call?
You want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
Hello, you guys.
Hello.
This is Jesse from Orange County.
Hey Jesse.
And since you have given no ground rules for calling in to your show, I am just going to make a request. I want to hear, because the jokes practically write themselves, and it'll be relatively easy for you two.
Oh, thank you. If I was a woman, I'd be really popular.
I want to hear your thoughts on this Rachel Dolezal thing.
Did he say racial mole?
Yes. No, he said Rachel Dolezal. Or
Oh,
Dolezal.
I thought he said a racial mole, like white people have more moles than brown people.
I was thinking of mole like someone who's infiltrating, which actually kind of dovetails into the Rachel Dolezal story, but
all right.
in a weird way.
Let's hear the rest of his voicemail.
Okay.
Woman in Spokane, Washington, who pretended to be black and is the local NAACP chapter president. Anyway, love the show and appreciate what you guys are doing. Goodbye.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks for the voicemail, Jesse. That's very cool.
Yeah, I like your show too.
Yes.
You can find Jesse at I doubt it.
Are you going to out him?
Dollemore.
He didn't leave his last name. You're going to out him on his... No, we should definitely promote his
Great show.
Yeah, I doubt it with Dollemore, right?
Yeah,
Dollemore, yeah.
Dollemore.com.
Right on. Thanks for that call. It's awesome. I kind of wanted to talk about this anyway.
Oh,
But
yeah?
I didn't really have any jokes, but since he threw the gauntlet down, I actually wrote down 4 jokes just in the time we listened to that voicemail.
Oh, let's
That's
hear
how
it.
good I am.
Let's hear it.
Well, I'm going to weave them in.
Oh. Well, I had a couple of
Much like
questions.
She weaves her hair extensions into her hair
Okay.
hair to.
I had a couple of
achieve her-
questions to ask you first.
Yeah.
Can you define intaxification?
Intaxification?
That's the euphoria at getting a tax refund, which lasts until you realize it was your money to start with. How about reintarnation?
Those are like sniglets. You ever know sniglets
yeah.
from Rich Hall? Yeah. Reintarnation.
Reintarnation. That's coming back to life as a hillbilly. How about foreplay?
Ooh. I don't know.
That's a misrepresentation about yourself for the purposes of getting laid.
I don't get that one.
Oh. How about a giraffiti?
Giraffiti? Is it like stuff that's like really, really high up that you can't figure out how they got up there to tag?
Yeah, vandalism really, really high.
Oh, I figured
Okay.
that one out.
And I'll give you just one more because I got this one, Dave. I've got hepatitis.
Yeah, I don't know. What's that?
It's a terminally cool disease.
Cool. You reminded me of my my old podcast. We were talking about how come Sharknado at this time only had maybe 1 sequel, but they come out with 3 Sharknados now. I think but the titles are not interesting at all. But so I had a bunch of Sharknado. I'll try to look them up. We'll try to go later. My favorite one was Old Lady Perfume Nado. That was
Oh,
my favorite
nice.
one. I'll try to look them up. So there's lots more.
Okay, well, before we get into the racial mole thing, I wanted to ask you a couple of things about some movies and TV shows that we happen to like. Did you get a chance to see Jurassic World?
No.
No? Oh, you didn't see it yet.
I've not seen it.
And were you a big Michael Crichton fan of Jurassic Park?
I love Jurassic Park. Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
And Steven Spielberg. Yes. I wasn't really familiar with Crichton's work so much, other than Westworld and Andromeda Strain. Right, he wrote that was one of his earlier books. But I loved Jurassic Park. I thought it was a great spectacle. That year was a great year for movies because Spielberg directed Jurassic Park, which was the highest grossing movie of the year, and it's kind of like groundbreaking. And then the same year he directed Schindler's List, which won Best Picture. That's quite a year for a fella to have done that the same year. But yeah, I love Jurassic Park.
Well, now 20 years later, we have Jurassic World. So they made sure in the movie to play up to the old movie, including the logos and the Jeeps and well, I don't want to spoil the plot of the of the show. There is an island with dinosaurs. That much you know from watching the previews. But I guess I wouldn't say I'm a diehard fan. I liked Jurassic Park because I like dinosaurs. I thought the 2 and 3 were pretty cheesy, but I saw Jurassic World in an IMAX theater from the 5th row back. So when the 50-foot dinosaur came up, he was really 30 feet tall to me. I was like, oh my God, I had to lean back and like look way up to see the dinosaur dripping down, the drool and everything. That was great.
Cool.
And the screen was so big, you know, as the dinosaurs ran back and forth, you had to turn your head to look.
Yeah.
You know, look up and follow around.
That's what IMAX. You know what IMAX means? Where they got the name?
I don't know what. Is that a euphemism?
No. Well, no. It stands for image maximization.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something funny.
They used 70 millimeter film and they just turned it sideways so they could get because you know the perforations would run on the side and that kind of limited the width of the frame for 70. So they just ran it horizontally through a projector so they could get a even bigger frame, and it's called image maximization. So that's how they came up with that.
Well, it's great in IMAX. Pratt. He's pretty. He's a. What do you say? He's a badass. That's the word.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Is there weird any strange or overly didactic messages that we were supposed to get from this one, like global warming or climate change? Has the climate industrial complex gotten their fingers onto this movie too, or is it more like meddling with science? That's a standard for.
It felt more
movies.
like an anti-science movie. If there was an underlying,
So it was made by
theme,
Republicans.
Like if there was an underlying theme, it was science is bad. It creates things that can end the world.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But there was some fun helicopter. I mean, the
that's
special
true.
effects were great.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's the Jurassic World special effects were just like even a little bit better than those of Game of Thrones.
By the way, though, before we go on to Game of Thrones, because I want to.
Oh, okay.
I want to go in there.
You like that segue?
Yeah, that was a good segue. Did they mix practical effects with actual models of dinosaurs with the CG, or was it all CG?
I felt like there was some body doubling and there was enough reality that I wasn't thrown out of the show, but it wasn't like Mad Max, where you saw Mad Max and you knew there were motorcycles flying through the air with people on them. No question. Mad Max, there were real effects, and then they brought some CG in. Jurassic Park felt like I was in a CG world.
Yeah, okay. But you enjoyed the movie overall.
Yeah, I mean you're not going there for the depth of character development and to watch the arc of these people as they triumph over their troubles. It's literally
this is exactly what the spectacle.
Yeah,
they're big movies and
it's literally big
you're
fighting.
Supposed to watch with your mouth agape, much like a lot of those Steven Spielberg signature shots of people with their mouth open, gazing in wide-eyed wonder up at something.
And that is worthy. And now this was actually the best part. I was at a conference in Santa Clarita, the Valencia area.
I'm so sorry.
No, it was a great conference.
I
But
used to live out there.
usually, on the Thursday night of the conference, all of us get together and we have dinner and have some drinks. Well, we had our drinks early, we had a dinner early, and then a bunch of us went to go see Jurassic Park at the local theater. And one guy had the bright idea to buy tickets ahead of time on one of those Fandango, I think. And I didn't want to mess with it, so I said, I'll give you $20, you just buy it. So he bought the tickets and he bought the IMAX.
Yeah.
So we walked in, we gave our tickets, we walked into the IMAX theater. We didn't get the perfect seats in the middle, but we were, up a few rows from where I normally like to sit. And that was then I went to get popcorn. I went to get popcorn. There must have been 400 people standing in line going through the whole movie theater and down the hall and around, all waiting to go see the 15-minute later show of Jurassic World in the non-IMAX theater.
Oh, saps.
For $5 more, people, you could have just gone.
No. That few dollars keeps out the riffraff. You want to. That's what's good about the ArcLight in Hollywood and the Sherman Oaks ArcLight, which I used to live in Sherman Oaks, but we affectionately call it the Shark Light.
Oh, the Shark Light.
Yeah, but that's great because your seats are assigned. And they have a little restaurant in there too. And I think I've said this before because when you walk in there, you sit down to eat. They go, "What movie are you going to see?" And you tell them, and what time, and they put a little thing on your table so that they make sure they get you out of there so you can go see your movie. It's awesome.
Oh,
They
well,
make sure
let's go
you're
see
paid,
Star
your bill
Wars.
is paid, and boom, that's the best place
Yeah.
to see Star Wars like that. Yes,
Man, I would pay
So
$10
ArcLight is awesome.
extra to be able to have a no hassle. Here's my seat. Skip the previews. Tell me when the last 30 seconds of the preview is so I can just walk in, sit down, and enjoy my movie.
yeah. Well, that's ArcLight, buddy.
And sometimes, I have to be honest, sometimes I need the extra time before the movie to hit the restroom so I don't have to miss any
Yeah,
part.
as old guys over 40, it's well, Hitchcock was correct in his statement that no movie should be longer than the capacity of the human bladder.
Yes.
And it gets even worse when you get to be an older fella because get that prostate swelling up in there, taking up real estate near your bladder. So yeah, I always have to go right before because I don't want to get up during the movie.
I always thought it was because I drank too much soda in my younger days.
No, it's probably your prostate.
Okay, so nudity.
Oh,
Yeah.
want to cue up that? Because was Jurassic Park better than the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones?
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah, those were
Oh, no.
that was some good stuff.
If I had to pick Game of Thrones or Jurassic Park, I would pick Game of Thrones. And we've been waiting for some redemption from one of the characters that we don't like, and it happened. That's right. I feel like I shouldn't spoil exactly what happened, although it's widely known.
Yeah,
Cersei Lannister was shamed.
yes, it was wonderful to see. Well, is that a real practice they used to have? People having to walk naked, kind of like being put in the stocks, where people would just throw poop on you and old vegetables and stuff.
Are you kidding? Shaming happens right now today.
Not nearly as much as it should.
I think it happens even worse than in Game of Thrones. Have you ever been on Twitter?
Yeah.
Twitter is like the worst
Well-
place for normal people to be.
Well, it's not proper shaming though. It's just nasty name calling, and people don't, for the most part, unless you're a teenager, you don't care.
But some of those celebrities, when they get shamed on Twitter, people are stalking their houses and showing up in their backyard.
Yeah, that's crazy people stalking them. Shaming is a little different. This type of shame. I love this song. Is it the Shirley and Company? Is that the
That
name
was
of
Shirley
it?
and Company,
Shame,
yeah.
shame, shame. One of my favorite disco songs. I love it. Yeah, what's her name? What's the actress's name that plays Cersei Lannister?
Lena Headey.
Lena Headley? Headley?
I thought it was Hetty.
No, I think it's Lena Headley.
Oh.
Wasn't she from?
Well, you talk about it and I'll look it up.
Yeah, you look that up. Yeah, she was an evil character, and she finally got some of her comeuppance, which was nice to see. But it was also wrapped in. For me, it was like, this is great to see her completely just, well, as the woman says, walking behind her, shamed. She keeps calling out shame. People are throwing
Ding, ding,
poop
ding, ding.
on her and piss and all kinds of yucky stuff, and calling her whore and stuff, which she definitely deserves.
Her feet were bleeding.
Yeah, her feet were bleeding. She was completely naked, which was the best part. They made up for a lot of the non-nudity episodes from this last season, which I thought there's a little bit of a nudity drought.
Although I think you were cheated. It wasn't her.
What? There's a body double?
It was a body double, and they CG'd her face on for the long
Really?
shots. Yeah.
Oh. She didn't do any of the nudity?
I had to look it up a little bit. I don't know why. I
Well,
mean,
whoever's body that was, it was very nice.
Lena Headey is very believable. She's not a supermodel. She's not a 19-year-old bikini model, but she's the body double was good looking, and I fully believed it was Cersei's.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Yeah, Lena Headey.
Yeah.
Headey? I don't know.
I say Headey.
I don't know why I thought it was Lena Headley. I'm getting her mixed up with somebody else. Like Headley Lamar.
So,
Headley.
but this is where the writers of Game of Thrones mess me up. For 5 years, I have despised Cersei and her manipulations, and I have felt personally that she was against me.
She
and
would
that
be.
and that I would have not been in House Lannister because it's not my personality. And then finally, she gets, she gets her comeuppance. She's, that great moment of redemption when she's thrown in the prison cell, and then they shame her, and I start feeling bad for her. And I'm like, you know what? I hope she goes back and kills these people.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that too. I was enjoying her pain, though, her misery. But I thought, oh, the silver lining is, though, she's going to go back. Because those people were actually jerks, the ones that were torturing her and whatever. Not torturing per se, but they were doing bad things to her. They were evil, too. They're just as bad as she is.
Right.
So I was like, this would be awesome because she is going to get revenge on them. But I also get to see her suffer. So it was a win-win.
But I felt bad that I didn't enjoy her shaming as much as I felt like I should have.
You're still a little bit of a liberal, aren't you? Is it still in there?
There must still be like a
even though the people she murdered, you still like just cut her a break.
You know, it might have been the dude burning his daughter alive that made me not feel so bad for Cersei.
Yeah, is that a spoiler? Oh, you won't say exactly who does that. Why?
You know, she was bad, but she didn't burn her children alive.
Not yet. No, she wouldn't actually.
No, she wouldn't.
No. Well, there you go.
So without spoiling the plot too much, if you have not been watching season 5 Game of Thrones, people, it's great writing, great special effects, and the last 3 episodes, 8, 9, and 10, have just been incredible productions. I mean, spectacles like a 30-minute battle with undead, the whole arena with the masked people coming out, the dragon flying. I mean, it's been fantastic. I'm a fan. You know, whatever.
It's been nothing but good.
Nothing but good.
I forgot what I was going to say about that. We can move on.
Well, I've got a whole list of things.
Yeah?
Before we circle back around to our callers.
To Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah. To Rachel Dolezal. You know, when you're at home watching movies and TV, what devices do you use?
When I'm at home watching TV?
Yeah, when you're watching TV at home or you're watching movies at home, what kind of I think
Well,
I think you
have
said
a
you have
butt
a Roku.
plug. I mean, I don't. I'm totally kidding. I do not use a butt plug for anything.
That's what you have a wife for.
I have a Roku remote and a regular remote for my TV. But sometimes I have daughters and they will hide the Roku remote, so I have to go to my iPhone or iPod or iPad and use the Roku app, which controls my Roku box. Yeah.
Anything
but it usually
else?
turns up 3 or 4 days later and somewhere.
Do you have cable? Do you pay for
Do
cable?
not have cable. I'm a cord cutter. I'm streaming only.
Do you have a TiVo? Do you record shows or anything?
No. Nope. Don't do it.
I'm constantly surprised at how many people pay for a big cable package so they can have a cable box and a DVR and 5 rooms of their house.
Yeah.
I was like, how much? I mean, I feel like I'd have to watch a lot of TV to justify that because I have my TV and I have an Apple TV and I have a DVD for, you know, the few times we watch DVDs a year. Mm-hmm. And then I have a Chromecast that hides behind the TV.
Yeah.
So
I never use my Chromecast.
Oh yeah, I like when I use the
doesn't work very well.
When I use the Chromecast, it's great.
Mine's a little jumpy. Pictures it doesn't work very well. I use the hard drive. I'll download a movie, put it on my hard drive, plug that into the Roku box, and I go off the USB. And
yeah, right. The Roku has the interface.
It's got
my TV itself, I can plug a USB drive in, like a thumb drive or whatever, and I can watch TV and movies, and that is actually fantastic. Yeah. You put an MP4 on a USB drive, plug it into the TV, it's flawless. But most of the time, for the last 5 years, we've just been using the Apple TV, and it's been great. Lately, it's been crashing. If the kids watch a bunch of Netflix, the Apple TV will crash sometimes on Netflix, but only Netflix. Nothing else crashes. Music doesn't crash, and I don't know. I guess people have been talking a lot about Apple TV and some of the other boxes because there's the Kindle Fire, which I heard is very speedy and fast for looking up stuff, and then Roku's always been popular. Then there's an Android TV and an Android stick and an NVIDIA. Like there's a bunch of these things coming out, but I can't put my head around it. The Apple TV, when I take a picture with my phone, if the TV's not playing anything, it'll show the picture. It'll just show my last 1,000 pictures, and people come to my house. They're like, "Oh, look at that! Oh, there's your. Oh, you went to that? Oh, I did that too. Hey, there are my kids over there."
During the party, the pictures from the party show up on your TV, which is fun.
Exactly.
And the music, yeah, it's good.
Like I don't.
But you can't get Amazon stuff on Apple TV, right?
No, but my TV itself does Amazon.
Okay. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, I might think of that. Think of doing that.
So the TV has it built in. So I was anticipating a new Apple TV, but it seems like it didn't make it to the Apple announcement. The new Apple TV, because they're going to maybe do some sort of pay television subscription service. But I don't need that. I just want a new Apple TV. So I may be buying a new $69 Apple TV just to replace the one that crashes once in a while.
Not a bad price. Sling TV, when I was using that for the NBA playoffs, which are over, by the way. Do you know who won?
Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors. They sent LeBron home crying. It was awesome. They hadn't won a championship. They won one championship 40 years ago. I think it was 75. And
wow.
But see, the Clippers had never won. That's why I was rooting for them. But then they got knocked out, and I'm like, oh, Warriors are still in. What the hell? I'll jump on the bandwagon.
Them, but they were losers, so you found some winners.
Yeah,
and you rooted
I
for
only
them.
reward winners. I don't like. I'm not going to watch Lakers for another 2 or 3 seasons now because it's just going to be all Clippers or Warriors now because I kind of like the Warriors.
Does Jack Nicholson even watch the Lakers anymore?
No. I think he sold his tickets actually.
Yeah, I'm sure that
him and what's his name, Lou Adler.
Even Jack probably gave up on him.
Lou Adler's that white bearded guy that sits next to Jack Nicholson. He's like a producer and record promoter guy from back in the set. I think he promoted. He was one of the Woodstock guys, or maybe
okay.
Might not be Woodstock, but maybe the Monterey Pop Festival. He was one of the. He's a record guy. You know, lots of cash, but friends with Jack.
Nice.
So that's the guy that sits next to him with the shades and the white beard. Very cool looking dude. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. At this conference, we did talk a lot about drones. It was sort of a topic of we're trying to, myself and...
Wait, hold on. You came up with a new BattleBots offshoot called Game of Drones?
Game of Drones, yeah.
Did you guys hash that out?
Well, we are trying to get a grant for community colleges where we get some training in, obviously.
That's not nearly as cool as Game of Drones, by the way.
And then we all get drones at our campuses, and so we'll have to work on the destruction of aerial drones.
They could use like little maces, like old timey weapons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
no lasers. No lasers in the Game of
Drones. Like a guillotine type thing, or like a ball and chain.
In the Game of Drones, you win or you fall.
Mm-hmm. See, write this down.
You win or you crash and burn. Okay, all right, got it.
Wow. I had a gyro before I came over. You're supposed to eat before podcasts. It's a bad idea.
Okay. Well, I wanted to mention, we've been covering on this show exclusively all of the criminal elements related to the Apple Watch with its early release.
Mm-hmm. Is there more?
Well, I want you to know that the crime hasn't stopped, but the number of normal people getting Apple Watches has increased. Mm-hmm. And I've had real-life Apple Watch sightings.
Oh, I haven't had any, I don't think.
Yeah, well, you did, but you might not have known it. So I went to.
I think you mentioned I didn't see it, though.
I went to our daddy drop-off day at the preschool, and I was there with my kid, getting my I Love Daddy mug and the pictures that he made me. Mm-hmm. And I noticed one of the dads had an Apple Watch, but it wasn't I didn't want to talk about it then. I was talking to my kid on the daddy drop-off.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, well, I finally saw a normal non-programmer, non-Apple developer with an Apple Watch, because the other guy I know with one is an Apple developer. So it's sort of expected he's going to buy one on launch day. Mm-hmm. So then that was Wednesday, and then on Friday night I went to a party, and there was a couple guys there that had them, and they talked about how they loved being able to pop their notification when they were driving. It wasn't very distracting. Mm-hmm. They worked out with the watch. Like, you're out on a run, you can control. One guy had the Nike Plus app, the one that I use, and he could control his Nike Plus and his music from the watch. And I thought, man, that's what's been holding me back from exercising.
You're right.
When I'm out running with my Nike app and I want to pause it or something, I have to get the phone out of the pouch and pick it up and unlock it. And then if I just had it on the watch, like, all the crime aside, I feel like the running would be enough of a use for me, right? So,
all right. So there you go.
So Sunday I went out for a run. We had we had a day off, and I took my oldest kid on his bike. I went out for a run, and my wife is texting me, and stuff's going on. And I'm like,
the Pebble will do all that too, by the way.
No, the Pebble doesn't control the Nike Plus app.
Oh, but it'll control the music.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. I need the guy I was talking to at the party, he used Nike Plus also, and I was like, oh, this is a chance. I may not be running a lot lately, but I've logged a lot of miles on there. So I pull out my app, and I have 480 miles logged into the Nike Plus app. And so I'm like, well, what's your Nike Plus ID? And he goes, hey, you have almost as many miles as I do. And he shows me as 530. It's like, oh, man. I thought at least I could be cool enough to have more. I've almost always have more miles on Nike Plus than anybody else I run into. This guy was like, oh, it's just 10 runs. You can catch up to me in a couple weeks.
Try explaining this to a 17th century guy.
Like, screw you, Steven.
Yeah. You hear that, Steven? Yeah. F you.
No. Not, that's a little harsh.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to go all the way to the F.
No. I don't know what I was thinking.
So of course I immediately ordered an Apple Watch.
Oh, okay, right on.
And then I felt so guilty and crappy.
Canceled it?
And then I right away canceled the order.
Wow. Oh dear.
I was like, it's just the cheap one too.
If they remake Pulp Fiction in like 30, 40 years, they get around to remaking all this stuff, which I'm not actually opposed to, because they remake. They're doing that a lot of reboots now, but I don't mind like remaking a movie that's good because there's been dozens and dozens versions of
RoboCop.
Hamlet. Well, you saw the Shakespeare play. It's different
Right.
people. It's a different take on the
Right.
same story. I don't mind that, but you think whoever's playing the Christopher Walken character be like the iWatch instead of the gold watch. It's like I wore this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass for 5 years. This is your dad, the grandpa's iWatch. It'll still be working. I don't know. Just a thought.
That's good. Gonna be smart. How are you going to charge it for 5 years? Man, I don't know.
I cannot do an impersonation of Christopher Walken to save my life either. So don't try to kill me because I won't be able to get my way out of it by doing an impersonation of Christopher Walken.
Well, there was one more thing with the Apple Watch. It said it would be sent to me in like 2 to 3 weeks. I'd probably get it in July, like July 7th or 8th. I was like, well, I might be on vacation July 7th or 8th. What good is it going to do to ship to me then? And then I found out they're available in store starting today.
Oh.
So as of,
Well, there you go.
we're recording this today, June 17th. Today is the first day you can go into a store and buy an Apple Watch. So I was like, nah, just forget it.
People are turning off the podcast now that they know it's not fresh.
Oh, man.
Nice one, dude.
Oh, blew it. All right, tell me about Rachel.
Rachel Dolezal. Yeah, harkening back to the voicemail at the opening of the show. Rachel Dolezal has been on the tip of everyone's tongue for a couple of weeks now because she is a white broad who has been kind of just passing herself off as black for a long time. She even maneuvered her way up into the Spokane NAACP, and she teaches Africana, which I don't even know what that is, courses at some college or something.
Language?
Is it? I don't know. And
Afrikaans?
No, it's Africana. But people have started. She did something that got someone suspicious. I think posting a picture. Well, I know a couple things she did suspicious. Well, first off, they're like her trunk is suspiciously junkless for a black chick. So that kind of raised some hackles.
She wouldn't pass the
and she
Jew
seemed
test
to actually
either.
like dating black men. So that was like another like what's going on with this broad? And then
Are you saying that black women prefer to date non-black men?
no, I'm just
okay.
joking. Actually, I think a lot of black chicks they don't like dating black men. But also a UPS driver because she had a big cocoa butter habit. She would buy like a case a month of cocoa butter, but
Wow.
the guy he went to put it in the garage. None of it's been used. That was another. The evidence was mounting
Okay.
on her, and she also let someone touch her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Black chicks do not let you touch their hair.
Oh.
No way, no how. So all of this sort of preponderance of evidence led to
All right.
the fact that she's been outed now.
Well,
But-
how did she respond to the Ask Rachel quiz?
I don't know what that is.
What did she say? What does she say after James Brown says, "Say it loud"?
I don't know. I think she
Right?
hadn't heard that song. That was
What
another-
did she answer? Scones or sausage biscuits?
she answered scones.
Newports or Winstons?
Newports.
Kool-Aid or Sunny Delight?
Ooh, you got me there. I think it's Sunny D.
Crown Royal or Wild Turkey?
Crown Royal.
Okay, Donnie and Marie or Bebe and Cece?
That's insulting. I'm not even going to answer that.
Faith Hill and Tim McGraw or Ashford and Simpson?
All right, this is getting too obvious now.
All right.
I don't know what she would answer to that.
What would she say if you asked her how long does it take to clean the chitlins?
No idea.
Who was her favorite Lionel on the Jeffersons?
Do they have them listed there?
What was George's wife's name?
She would know that. She would know it's Wheezy.
Okay, one more question. Mm-hmm. Can she double Dutch?
Her hair is pretty long in some of these photos. I don't know if that would allow her to double Dutch.
Okay. I don't know her
really
personally,
long.
but I'm not buying it.
She's got these long braids.
Okay,
that's why
continue on. I got my questions answered.
Mm-hmm. Now she seems a little crazy to me. They've asked her. She kind of just looks. There's an interviewer asking her. So what do you say to these? She's just looking at the guy like, "You're a crazy person, sir. Why are you even questioning my? She basically says I identify as black. Mm-hmm. Her parents are saying she has no black heritage at all. We're like Czech or European white people.
Okay.
And you see pictures of her as a kid. Looks like she could be in a Ingmar Bergman movie. She does not look black at all, but somehow she identifies as black. Now, what I've been hearing though on the talk show circuit. Mm-hmm. And I listen to, across the board. I'm hearing news, which is left wing. If you're listening to the news on the TV, it's like kind of left leaning. ABC, CBS, NBC, NPR, all these are.
You watch this before you watch your soaps?
Yeah, and I DVR the soaps. I binge watch those on the weekends, and the shows like Red Eye, which is sort of almost like I wouldn't say it's the. What's the Jon Stewart show? The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
It's like more of a right-leaning Daily Show. It's funny. It's definitely good. There's good comics and good humor on it. Greg Gutfeld used to host it. But I watched like those shows and just listening to guys like Dennis Prager and those guys, and they've been bringing up this it's pretty interesting how. Why is it that Bruce Jenner was immediately seriously? If you Wikipedia Bruce Jenner, it comes up Caitlyn Jenner. Immediately, the internet bowed to his/her will. Mm-hmm. Even you're looking at the Caitlyn Jenner won the decathlon, not Bruce Jenner. Wow. Oh. They've immediately he's identifying as a woman. He's one. Interesting to note that Bruce Jenner's still the one that smashed into that pedestrian or the car in Malibu and killed that lady. Bruce did that. Caitlyn didn't do that, but that was Bruce. Okay. Just as a side note.
We should make sure we edit the Wikipedia tonight.
Yeah, but then make sure Caitlyn Jenner is the one that smashed into this car and killed the woman. So it's interesting that this was immediately accepted how dare you say anything? And of course, no one's really saying anything bad about them, about Bruce Jenner. I haven't heard, but the lefties always make up. See, the Republicans hate him now. It's they have no opinion other than why is everyone in love with this guy just because he said he's transgender? They don't understand. What? Like me.
That's funny.
I don't understand. Okay, he's a woman. Okay.
When I looked into Caitlyn Jenner, everyone said, nice boobs.
Yeah, I was thinking look at Caitlyn Jenner. Her panties are more crowded in the Republican field for president right now, but yet she's immediately accepted as a female. Rachel Dolezal, on the other hand, she's lying about being a black person. She is a liar.
Okay.
But Bruce Jenner identifies as a woman, so he's a woman now.
But
she can't identify as black.
But we all come from the Mesopotamian Valley. We all come from African roots. We are all people.
I've said that before too. I always said we're all African American or African whatever.
All people are of African descent. So what's the time?
She brought that up actually. I was like, good for her. Right on.
Yeah. So what's the timeline? If your parents were from Africa, but you were born in the U.S., do you call yourself an American African? If your grandparents were in Africa, but then your grandparents married white people who married European people, light-skinned people, and you're light-skinned, do you call yourself American African? How about if your great-grandparents, where's the limit of, because, the limit may be.
I had great-grandparents. I had some that weren't so great, but none of them were from Africa directly. But all of us are from Africa.
Right.
Aren't we?
It may be 100.
Aren't we all from Africa?
Yes.
Okay.
It may be 100 generations ago.
Yeah, so how far back you want to go on that?
That's
she actually brought that up, which is perfectly fine. I don't care. She is a little crazy there. She gets into getting into some of her obfuscations and weird identities. She seems like she's a little off, But
does she also identify?
I'm trying to figure out, why is Bruce Jenner immediately embraced, and why is she pilloried by everyone? Like, what? She's a liar. Bruce Jenner simply feels like he's a woman. She is not allowed to feel like she's a black woman. Now, let me run this past you.
Wait, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if it's black women are less accepted in society than old white women.
Yeah, you're onto something there, because it's a leftists are controlling the media generally. They're the ones we're seeing everything filtered through generally. And
right. Oh, and I just want to say, Mike, if you're listening, I'm sorry, we're talking about race again. Feel free to pipe in anytime.
Call that voicemail leave one on there that Jesse left there.
Mike, if you want to talk about race to us, leave us a message on the hotline. I'll give you the number in a little bit.
Leave a comment about the race industrial complex. Put it on there. But the left folks, they have a hierarchy too, but they're always going to protect their political base that they perceive as, and they're always claiming the who they consider the weakest and the most in need of protection, and that's transgendered and black are neck and neck there. Now, white usually, if you say male female, they'll pick female.
Okay,
but in this case, we have a white female, sort of, stepping on black female territory. So they immediately rush to, there's been an injustice here.
Right.
And with Bruce Jenner, immediately accepted, because transgender, he's a transgender person, immediately accepted, protect.
Right. It has a higher level of priority.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So female, another way to look at it is left considers black lower than female. Transgender lower than female, because I mean, what if she was lying and saying she was a transgender? I don't know. That would be really weird when she wasn't, in fact. But it's interesting that she's a liar. Why can't she just be? She feels black. Okay.
Yeah, if she identifies,
she is a crazy person though. But if you see when she's read some of her writings and rantings, it's like, oh boy, she's a crazy person.
Well, so compared to all women, would you say she's more crazy than the normal crazy, or about the same?
What's the baseline? Like a 5? She's like a 6.
Yeah, if you looked at the aggregate of all women who are like
about a 5.
Crazy of 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, you say she's about a 6 of crazy.
Yeah, that reminds me of a good movie called 30 Still Single Contemplating Suicide. I don't know if it ever came out. I saw it at a screening. I know that they met the director and the actor. There's a great scene in there. It parallels, male, female. It's fun. It's a very fun movie. It stars a guy named Christopher May. He is a scene where, oh crap, what was the hell was I just talking about? I just totally lost it. My screen went dark, and I was like, "Oh, my battery saver kicked in."
You're so easily distracted.
I know, I'm like a dog, like
squirrel,
looking over there.
Squirrel.
Yeah, it was. Women always have these elaborate reasons for why they broke up with the guy or why their relationship ended, and it's cutting to the various women. He was suffocating me. He wasn't really driven. He was kind of like, they're going these lengthy things, and every single dude they cut to is, oh, she was crazy. She was lunatic. That's like all they said. She was crazy. She was like certifiable. That was all they said. Really funny.
Nice.
Another scene in that movie too is the girls' table. They were eating lunch, and one of the girls, I had a gay experience in college. And I'm like, oh, really? And they're like, oh, how was it? All talking. They all like leaned in closer, and they're describing it as, I was one time, and then the same thing happened at the dude's lunch. And the guy's like, yeah, I sucked a dick once. And that wasn't for me. And all the dudes are like spit take. They're just like, what? It's like, I got a guy at the table just cleared out. He's like eating the rest of their French fries as they're going. It was great. So 30 Still Single Contemplating Suicide. If you can find it on YouTube or something, take a look at it.
Boy, I
don't know if it ever came out. It's hard.
Seems very familiar to me. Yeah. I might have seen that. Yeah. Maybe on Netflix.
I'm gonna look for it when I get home. I haven't seen it in a long time. I have a VHS copy. It's so long ago.
a VHS. Show that to your kids. See what they do.
Yeah, just give it to them. It's like, what am I to do with this, Father?
I was the kid that could take apart the VHS player and clean the heads with the rubbing alcohol, because my brother would put his grilled cheese sandwich in the VCR. And I couldn't watch Voltron if the VCR was covered in cheese.
Yeah.
So, I might have become a tech person out of necessity. I love that.
That's the origin story of Sable.
So it is fascinating that this woman who identifies strongly as a black woman is
Immediately called a liar and
is being, she's being
and
torn,
or crazy.
She's being torn apart by the media.
Yeah, although she'll probably end up with a reality show because America's just like a bizarrely pathetic place. So
But if
just
she,
make her
but
into a
if
celebrity.
she grew up Mexican and she claimed to be Hispanic, you think it would be the same thing? If she was trying to become the Spokane representative of La Raza, that
What's the difference
Hispanic
between Latin
organization
and, what's
called
the difference
the
between
Race.
Mexican and Hispanic? Yeah. What's the difference between Mexican and Hispanic?
Oh, well, Mexican music derives from Germany, and no other Hispanic music does.
Yeah, it does sound
Mexican
very
music
German.
comes from polka,
Yeah.
and everything else is all African derived.
Where did that come from? Was it World War II
Germans.
escapees? Like
No,
people escaping, or
Germans
just pre-World War
500
II?
years ago, yeah.
Oh, hundreds of years ago. Interesting.
The only place in Mexico where you find like Latin Cuban style music is on the ports,
Interesting. The navigable waterways.
because that's where that's where the slave trade would stop, and they'd bring in their drums and their music. Anyways, that's a whole separate story from my survey of Afro-Latin music.
But by the way, Bruce Jenner, interesting. Like it was warmly accepted, but then there was a little bit of a rub because he said he was like a Christian Republican. It was like, it was like hackles got up. They're like, what?
So
What is it?
my wife doesn't usually talk about very many things that are current events unless it's something happens to a mom or a bus full of children. But she pulled me aside to show me a YouTube video on her phone. She said, "This is great," and the video was, "Congratulations, Caitlyn Jenner. We've accepted you as a woman, and now we're gonna treat you like one." And it was a series of clips of how the media has gone from questioning Bruce Jenner's ability as a person, as a man, to, oh, look at how well she dresses, look at her boobs, look at how sexy. I'm like, she's a 65-year-old transgender with breast implants. Who is turned on by this? This is weird.
But certainly not 65-year-old men. They're not turned. They're turned on by 40 and under.
That's right.
Mostly.
Well, we certainly
90-year-old?
treat Caitlyn like a woman now. And the conversation is not about her transgenderness. It's about her choice and style.
Well, she aches just like a woman. She makes love just like a woman.
And
She, I don't remember the rest.
she cooks just like a woman for me. Well, Dave, I want to thank you for subscribing to the show and all of our listeners. You can find the Indispensable Thursday show on iTunes and everywhere that fine podcasts are served. We really want to hear your voice, especially yours, Mike, on this racism thing. Call our hotline at 657-206-0777 and leave us a message. We appreciate your iTunes store reviews. We invite you to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Indispensable Thursday Show, or send us a message on Twitter at Sable and Dave.
Yeah, why don't you?
Why don't you? Hey, thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Sable.
Bye.